Reactivity. First of all, what is reactivity? Take a moment to reflect on your own experience. How are you feeling today? Do you feel reactive? Do you feel non-reactive? Do you feel somewhere in between? How about over the last few hours? Can you think of a moment where you were feeling more reactive? Or a moment when you reacted to something specific in your experience? How about yesterday? Were you more or less reactive than you are today? Do you think your friends or family would say you're a reactive person or a non-reactive person? Is this something you ever even think about? Is it important to you? Do you think it matters how reactive you are? What are your beliefs about reactivity? Is it a coping mechanism? Does it help you accomplish things in life? Does reactivity give you a leg up? Does it have any social implications? And if so, what? Does it make people like you less or more? Does it give you some kind of social currency? Have you ever met someone who is highly reactive? How does it feel to be around them? Does it make you feel reactive? Have you ever been around someone who's non-reactive? How does it feel to be around them? Does it affect you in a way that causes you to be non-reactive? What do you react to? Do you react more to internal stimulus, like thoughts, beliefs, anticipations, expected conversations, reactions from others, anticipating situations, etc.? Or do you react more externally, reacting to situations, people? Have you had a period of your life, a day, a week, a month, where you were non-reactive? You felt like there really was no internal reaction to anything that was happening. And you also felt in connection with your experience, with life. Not dissociated, but rather fully engaged. You were feeling equanimity. How did that feel? What do you think brought that about? Do you believe it's possible to live non-reactively? Do you think it's valuable to live non-reactively? Do you think it has drawbacks, potentially? So these are just some brainstorming questions or reflection questions to get you considering your own experience. If you're interested in this topic, I would urge you to actually take those questions one at a time, spend some time with them, even spend a day with them. Really introspect, really reflect on your experience, and see what role reactivity plays in your life. So for the remainder of the video, I'm just going to discuss a strategy to get at reactivity, to investigate it, to ultimately calm it, or even to break the tendency to react, to get to the root of what causes us to react and uproot it. This is entirely possible, although I would say it's very rare. With that said, there are people who are sort of naturally not very reactive, and yet they're engaged, not dissociated, not avoidant. They're engaged in life. They feel. They take responsibility. And yet, they don't seem to react too much. We've all met someone like this. Probably several people like this. Thinking back over my life, I can think of a handful of people who stand out this way. For what reason, I have no idea. But with this awakening process, with the realization process, once awakening starts to deepen, or we've done some emotion work, done some shadow work, and we're getting at the root of reactivity, it's possible to eradicate it. This leads to equanimity, which is probably 95% of what most people actually want, both in life and from spirituality or the awakening process. Now, we often don't overtly realize or literally realize this is what we're looking for. And the reason for that is probably because it's actually so uncommon. So uncommon among humans, and also so uncommon in an individual's experience. The mind is such that it's conditioned to react a lot. And most of this conditioning is through interactions with other human beings. And it's very good at doing that. It's very good at perpetuating patterns it's learned that have been impressed upon it. So reactivity is so common, so built into our beliefs, our internal world, thoughts, our reaction to emotions, our reaction to external events, our reactions to other people, that most of us would never guess you can actually live without it, and or what that would be like. And most importantly, that's really what most people, I think, want, even though they're initially searching for it in surrogates, such as validation, love, money, success, safety, security, etc. And then as this process gets going, we look for it in samadhi, deeper awakening, no self. We look for it in what we consider to be the final, the absolute stage, the ultimate arrival place for the individual, the spiritual individual called me. We think that place is going to provide us something that we're not often completely clear about what we actually think it's going to provide. Non-duality, cessation, nirvana, never being reborn. All of these are surrogates for something. And that something is equanimity. And equanimity is not all of realization. There are more aspects to realization than just living life without reacting. But living life responding effortlessly, seamlessly, with spontaneity, without hesitation. So, how do we go about this? Well, first of all, it's best if we've had some shift in identity, some transformation in what we take ourselves to be, some transformation in what we take reality to be, life, experience, thoughts, emotions. We've taken a backward step, fallen back into a much more vast truth. Vast not just in size or space or dimension, but vast in connection and fluidity. If that's happened, awakening, kensho, satori, then you're in a good place to begin this exploration. If it hasn't happened, I think this is still valuable, but it will be challenging because the mind is just making so much noise. It's hard to see close enough into experience, into reactions of mind, into formation of thoughts, reaction to emotions, because it gets heady very quickly. So if you're genuinely interested in awakening and realization, I would first work on First Awakening. I have playlists on that. Kensho. Whether you do it through a one-pointed approach, through self-inquiry, inquiry into the nature of thought, consciousness, however that works for you, I would recommend generally approaching that first and foremost. But either way, this is at least one way to approach reactivity. Root it out, investigate it. So this is something you can do throughout the day. You don't have to wait until you have time to meditate. You don't have to do this when you're in deep samadhi and the mind is quiet, although that's not a bad time to do it either. You can literally do this at any time, including when you're feeling triggered, frustrated, angry, bored, any of it. You can do it while you're working, completing physical tasks, exercising, chilling out, watching TV, watching movies, whatever. You just begin introspecting. Where does the reaction begin? Where does my reaction begin? Then look. Look wherever it feels like it makes sense to look. Look in the thoughts. Look in the emotion, the body sensations. Look in the external environment, the sounds, the visual field. But not an interpretation of the sounds and visual field, the actual sounds, the actual visual field. Look there. Feel into it. Listen closely. Is there a reaction beginning here? Where does the reaction actually begin? That's it. Simple. But you're going to have to keep at it. And you're going to have to be willing to feel periods of discomfort. This is stirring the pot. You'll kick up a lot of mud. The water will get unclear. You may feel disoriented. You may feel intense emotions come out of nowhere that make no sense. But they'll always pass. And even during those periods, you can continue to ask, where is the reaction beginning? Do I actually have to react to this at all? Feel, look, query. Keep at it. You can even do it in a little bit more of an analytical way. What do I think I'm going to get out of reacting to this? Whatever this is. A person, a comment, a situation, a thought, feeling, memory. What do I think I'm going to get out of reacting to this? You can use a little bit of logic. Oh, well, if I think about this conversation I need to have with a coworker tomorrow, if I think about it ahead of time right now and I feel a little reactive to it, there's a belief that says, then it'll go well. That by imagining the future right now, imagining something that's going to happen a day from now, and feeling triggered by it, feeling a little reactive to it, there's a belief that the reaction itself is valuable here, because perhaps it will prevent something from happening in that conversation that I don't want to happen, or will cause something to happen that I think should happen, right? This is what it feels like to push on your experience or pull on your experience, even if it's the experience of a thought, a plan, a memory. So where's the reaction starting? And what do I think I'm going to get out of it? Inquiry into belief here can be powerful. There's a playlist on it. My book goes into great detail on how to inquire into beliefs. So the beliefs around why we react to anything is important. Why do we react to external events? Something bad happened in the news and I feel a strong reaction. I feel angry. I want to post on Facebook about it. I want to talk about it to people. I feel like it's affecting my day. It's ruining my day. Okay. Let's just assume that that's natural. That's just what happens. But what happens when we look? Why am I reacting to that? What do I think I'm going to accomplish by reacting to that? Oh, I actually have a belief I can reduce how often bad things happen out there by building a reaction in here to them, by processing them in my mind, thinking about them, thinking how they should go instead of how they did go. I actually have an underlying belief that I can prevent those things from happening, or prevent them from happening to me in the future. There's a belief in control here. And when we start to see it's an inside job, that what happened out there is already what happened out there. You can't change it by thinking about it, reacting to it, etc. But hearing that and believing it doesn't help. You have to actually look for the reaction. Where does it form? How does it form? What are the beliefs around it? This is it. It's pretty simple, but it takes some detective work, in a sense. It takes some sustained effort, some willingness to keep looking, keep feeling, looking for it, looking for that trigger point. What gets the reaction going? What keeps the reaction going? Or even, what is a reaction? What does it feel like to have a reaction? Is the reaction a necessary part of the phenomenal experience, whatever it is? Reading a news story, that's the experience. Is it necessary to have a reaction to that, even if I really don't like it, or I really do like it? Where's the link? What belief is there that says the reaction's necessary, that it has to happen? This is the kind of detective work you do. Now, it takes time and effort and attention, awareness, whatever you want to call it. But if you keep at it, you'll notice the reaction links break little by little, and sometimes they break all at once or in a big way. But keep some attention in this space to see, are the reactions reforming? Are they coming back? In a new situation, is there reactions forming there? Because often we'll break the links in certain situations and it's very obvious. And then in other situations, we do feel triggers, we feel reactions. So we can investigate those as well. So this is how you work with reactivity. This has come up a lot lately. People have asked me about this quite a bit. And it's simple, there's nothing magical about it. But it's a little counterintuitive. Well, it's a lot counterintuitive if you've had an awakening and you've experienced flow and equanimity and non-duality even, and perhaps no self. You want to remember that and then somehow use the memory of that to not feel what's going on right now. That's a reaction. But if we're not looking close enough, we're not seeing the actual tendency to react. We're just trying to cover it up with something. We're trying to meditate ourselves out of the reaction instead of just looking at the root of the reaction. So this is what I recommend for anyone interested in looking into reactivity and equanimity.